All right, moving on right now. The Ford government announcing today that it's taking another step to break down barriers to free movement of workers across the country. Starting next year, certified professionals will be able to start working in this province within just 10 days once their credentials are confirmed, cutting months of the current wait time. Joining me live in studio right now to speak about this is Labour Minister David Piccini. Thanks for joining us here live on CP24. Yeah, let's elaborate more on this. Yeah, it's not just any kind of worker. There's a certain type of occupation that can come here in Ontario and work.
Yeah, we're talking all regulated professions. So we have over 200 regulated professions, and we know now more than ever we have consensus around nation building. Now's the time to put down our political stripes, to work together, and to make sure a Canadian worker can move freely. And that's why we're putting forward a Canadian First. We're the first in Canada to put forward as of right legislation that will make sure workers work much faster in these regulated professions.
Yeah, because before that, it was how long was the wait? If you were say, because on the release it said like architect. If you're an architect from Winnipeg, you want to come work in Toronto, what would that wait time be if you want to get a job?
Yeah, architects, engineers. I mean, just think you graduate from Memorial University or in Alberta, you're out working in the oil sands and you want to come and work in Sarnia in our sector, and you're held up for months navigating regulatory processes. And we want to make sure that it's much easier as we're building a stronger Canada, that these workers can flow freely. So you register and you can work within 10 days, and then the regulators have a period in which they have to process this regulation. We're also sort of streamlining what they can ask for. I mean, it's gotten so complex that we've got to streamline what they can ask for, make sure we get a decision, and if they don't, they can have administrative penalties imposed on them for not complying.
And so do they need a job offer before moving, or can they just come here, uproot their family if they wanted to, and then try to get a job in Ontario, and then within 10 days they can start looking for jobs? Or how
we know from historical data that most moving would already have a job offer. And so what we've heard, if you look to the skilled trades, for example, Gordie Howe Bridge, the Nexstar plant down in Windsor, or the Volkswagen plant in St. Thomas, you're using a workforce that moves across Canada. And, you know, many of these are Red Seal trades that move freely. But what we've heard from large contractors, whether it's architects, whether it's engineers, moving on these large projects with construction companies that work around Canada, or any other regulated profession, the nurses have done a phenomenal job breaking down barriers so that nurses can come work in Ontario. We need them. And now's the time to make sure that a Canadian's a Canadian and can move freely and work in Ontario. And we want to make sure that we're not marred in months of regulatory delay. Rather, a Canadian worker can come here with their family and start working right away.
How, like, it's 2025. Well, I still can't believe that. Like, I know this announcement's coming out now. It's great, but how was this the case before? Like, you wanted to move to out east or out west or the prairies. You almost didn't want to because all these barriers. How did we operate like that for so long?
This is crazy. I mean, look at what Premier Ford was saying about a bottle of BC wine, or I still remember going to university, having to go to Quebec just to get a few different types of beer. I mean, this is absolutely ludicrous. And so it's high time, with this unprecedented threat we see south of the border with a president who changes his mind daily. We got to make sure that trade isn't just north-south, that it's east-west. And so we're breaking down barriers for trade, but with it becomes breaking down barriers for workers. And so over 200 plus regulated professions will be affected by this legislation that we've introduced. Again, we're the first in Canada to do this. Premier Ford signed a number of MOUs with other provinces, so we expect many to follow suit. But you're right, this is crazy. It's 2025 in Canada, and workers aren't moving freely, and it's high time that ends, and it ends today in Ontario.
And real quick, so if I'm in Ontario, you want to move elsewhere, will that also be the case? It'll be around 10 days if you move to, let's say, Saskatoon?
Part of Bill 2 we put forward is mutual recognition, and we signed a number of MOUs. We're taking this first step in Ontario. We expect others to follow suit, as is the case usually where Ontario goes, others follow. But it's a first in Canada, and it's putting Canadian workers first.
And so with that, we've been talking a lot about, youth unemployment. I think it's at 14%, something. And I've talked to kids. They apply to so many jobs, just entry-level jobs in food service, and they're not getting close. It's near impossible. These people without university degrees. I'm also hearing people with degrees, diplomas, can't get jobs. What can we do to help with that? Because there does seem to be, just take a look. You go to a mall, at a food court. The people working at these entry-level jobs, they're not kids. Like they're full-grown adults. And like, how do we help the kids get jobs? Because as we know, it is a really important thing for kids to get a job on their own, be self-sufficient instead of, trying to find other means sometimes, and it's not always the best one.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things we've done is we've made sure that colleges, universities offer experiential learning opportunities. We've launched Level Up career fairs in the skilled trades. These are the largest career fairs we've ever done, getting more youth into apprenticeships. And today, Phil, more youth have registered in apprenticeships than at any point in Canadian history. We're also working with the federal government, calling for a reduction in temporary residents here. I mean, these are temporary residents competing with Canadian youth for these jobs. And so we've called for a reduction in that. But when it comes to putting Ontario's youth first, we've launched a number of firsts, meaningful apprenticeship pathways, breaking down barriers to enter the skilled trades, working with colleges and universities to ensure that experiential learning where you get those soft skills is offered, and creating the conditions to attract investment. I mean, again, whether it's regulatory barriers, whether it's permitting timelines, we've got to break down these barriers to build a stronger Ontario and to diversify our trade around the globe. And that's what we're doing here in Ontario and across Canada.
Yeah, Premier Ford has definitely been really big on skilled trades, and now with advancements in artificial intelligence, and you don't even, like, radiologists used to be a nice, cushy doctor job, and now that is under threat. But you're seeing more and more. I'm talking to my friends; they all have growing families. Talk about the skilled trades. That's like if my kid wants to be a carpenter, a plumber, electrician, let them do it. Like that. That's awesome. How is the Ford government and yourself as a Labour minister really, hitting that home? Like, this is like a great job. Like there were stigmas before. It's like, hey, you can't get a university, be a plumber. At least that's where I went to school. That was the sentiment. How do you change that narrative?
Well, you smash down barriers, tackle the stigma, and we've done that. And so, promoting the trades, we've made sure you have a tech class mandatory in high school. We've launched a skills development fund, the largest skilled training fund in Canadian history, recognizing that from K to Grey, lifelong learning matters. And so we have opportunities for that. The Level Up career fairs are the largest skilled trades fairs. I mean, this is like a job fair on steroids. You're going in, you're putting up drywall, you're using a hammer and nail. Everything is actual experiential. So you're getting your hands on tools and getting youth. And the most common thing I hear, I mean, we had 45,000 youth go through those fairs. We're about to launch it. In the evening, parents come in. They love it. They get to try their hand. And the most common thing I've heard is, I've never tried this before. So youth we're really breaking down those barriers. They're knowing that it's the lightest luggage you'll carry. Once you've got those skills in the skilled trades, whether it's Red Seal or whether you're CFQ, Certificate of Qualification, in one of our 144 skilled trades, you can't have those skills taken from you. You can work across Canada, and it's the lightest luggage you'll ever carry. Yeah,
and if you ever get a house, you don't have to pay someone to fix
exactly.
it. Because I'll tell you now, they charge a lot. All right, Minister David Piccini, thanks so much. I do appreciate the work you're doing. Have a great Labor Day, and enjoy the Labor Day parade.
Happy Labor Day. Important day for the incredible labor movement and for workers and organized labor who sacrificed a lot to get us to where we are today.
Yeah, I'm not sacrificing much, just breakfast with the family. That's about it. But we're doing what we can.